better late than never, right? Let's get right into it. I think when we left off before, we left off in Genesis chapter 4. Now, chapter 5, they're going into the generations of Adam. So they're talking about, Adam begat Seth, and Seth begat, and Seth begat, and begat. So they're just talking about the generations. So just for the sake of time, because I want to focus on some more interesting stuff, you can read that on your own. I would definitely advise you to go back and read chapter 5 of Genesis, but it's basically just talking about lineage. Who was the father of Noah, and who was the father of Noah's father and father and father. So some of these things, like especially you're going to see in book of Numbers when we get there, some of these things are just talking about the generations, like the lineage. And while that does have some value as far as the Bible studies that I'm trying to do here, some of the more interesting things that I'm trying to focus on, I'm just going to skip past those. Not because they're not important, but because the whole point here for me talking about this, for me doing my Bible study publicly, is because, I have this thing where I don't really go to church. I'm not, a traditional Christian. I'm more of a Hebrew Israelite, but even my philosophy differs from the main version that's usually taught by the Hebrew Israelites. So the reason I say that is because these things that I'm talking about, nobody ever talks about. You don't go to church and hear about the giants that's walking around. Like, nobody talks about that when you go to church. Even when you go to some of these Hebrew Israelite camps, they're talking about lineage, and they're talking about race and stuff like that. The different, well, not race per se, but they're going to say, the different peoples, the Edomites, the Hamites, they're just focusing on different stuff. I'm focusing on the things that people never talk about. People never talk about the difference between God and Lord God. People never talk about the giants that walked around in Noah's day. People never talk about the fact that the sons of God saw the daughters of men. How is there a difference between the sons of God and the daughters of men if God, the Most High God, only created Adam and Eve and we all came from Adam and Eve? So there's some things here that just don't make sense. Over my years of study and different philosophies, I've come to get some answers. And I want to tell you my philosophy, my ideology as far as what the answers that I come up with. And because this is a Bible study, you're able to leave your comments. I hope you do. When you join in the conversation, when you join into my lives, or when you watch the replay, leave something in the comment section. Tell me something I should consider. If you think that I'm getting something wrong, or if you think something, you have a perspective that I might be able to grow from, leave it in the comment section. I'd be happy to hear some different perspectives. But these are just some of the answers that I've come up with over the years. So we're going to get started in Genesis chapter 6. It says, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose." Now, before we go further, I need to explain this. Why is there a difference between the sons of God and the daughters of men? What this is referring to, from my understanding, is the creation of the Most High God. God created male and female. He created them, right? And he named this group of people Adam. Then the Lord God created a specific man, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had sons, and that's one generation coming from the Lord God. And the Most High God's creation is reproducing. And when these people meet, when Cain gets kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and he gets married, he goes to, what was it, Edom? Or Sion, I forget what city he goes to. But he leaves the Garden of Eden. And when he leaves the Garden of Eden, he reproduces with some of the women in the city that he goes to. So now there's starting to be intermingling between the creations of the Lord God and the creations of the Most High God. So that's why the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Moving on, verse 3. "And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years." Now, if you read chapter 5, Genesis chapter 5, you'll see that these people were living 900 years, 700 years, 800 years. These people were living hundreds of years. But when you get to chapter 6, his creation is only living 120 years. So they're intermingling the creations of the Lord God and the creations of the Most High God. They're intermingling now. So when you get to verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So you can see here, where did these giants come from? If there was only one creation and everyone came from Adam and Eve, where did the giants come from? The giants were produced when the two species started to intermingle. Verse 5, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So God sees, hey, these people that the Lord God created, y'all are evil. Like I created the, the Most High God is looking like, yeah, I created a good race. Lord God created y'all man, and you men are evil. The descendants from Cain and Abel. Well, mind you, Abel's dead. So these are the descendants from Cain and Seth. Because Adam and Eve had Cain, Abel, Seth. Abel gets killed by Cain, so that leaves Adam and Seth to reproduce. And mind you, Adam sinned. So Adam sinned, Cain sinned. So it's just sin. All of the descendants from the Lord God, all of the creations from the Lord God is just sinning. All of the men from the Lord God are just sinful. All of the creations from the Most High God are interbreeding with the creations of the Lord God, producing giants and producing this mixed hybrid race. And verse 6, and it repented the Lord. So God, the Most High God, says that there's sinful, all of the thoughts of man is sin or evil continually. Verse 6 says, and it repented the Lord. So just notice how it goes back and forth between God and Lord, God and Lord, God and Lord. When I was a kid and I read this, I never understood if God and the Lord are the same person, why do they keep switching back and forth between the names of these people? But you got to understand, it makes a lot more sense when you understand that there are two different entities here. There's the Most High God and there's the Lord God. So God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented who? The Lord, the creator of Adam and Eve, that he had made man on the earth. Who created man? The Lord. It repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth. So go back to chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth and the daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, the creation of the Most High God, saw the daughters of men. So the daughters of men, the creations of the Lord God. You see the intermingling here? And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth. Because the Most High God is like, hey man, look at these things that you made. My people are good. Look at what you made. Yeah, my sons are over here dating your women, but your people are evil continuously. And the Lord God is like, yeah, my bad, God. Like, I tried, what can I did my best. Right? That's what the Lord God is saying. It said, it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So the things that the Lord God has created, he's starting to regret. Like, man, I regret doing it. I was trying to be like you, God. You created me. I was trying to act like you, and look, it just didn't work. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God, the Most High God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shall you make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. Meaning, all right, you're going to make an ark. You're going to cover each room so that they're all waterproof. When they say pitch, they're talking about the black pitch. It's like tar. It's waterproof. Pitch both sides so that every room is isolated and every room is waterproof. Verse 15. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. Now, recently, I think it was in 2022, they said that they found, they might have found an ark during a archaeological dig. So I'm getting some messages here. But they said they might have found the ark, and it was found in the mountains of, I think they're going to say it in the Bible, but I think they said that they found the ark hidden in some mountains. Verse 16, I'm talking about in real life. You can Google it, Google search it. I think they said they found the ark. Verse 16, a window shall you make to the ark, and in it a cubit shall thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set inside thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shall you make it. So it's going to be a big ark, 3 floors. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, and to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. From under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with thee. So Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, Noah's wife, and the 3 sons' wives. I'm going to have a big, happy family in there. And of every living thing, of all flesh, 2 of every sort, shall thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, so they can reproduce. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind. Of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him. So did he. Now you got to understand some things about this. Who was Noah? Noah was introduced in chapter 5, just before chapter 6. I'm talking about chapter 5, verse 32. This is when Noah is first introduced. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. That's chapter 5, verse 32. So you can go back on your own time and reread about the generations that produced these people going up to Noah. But as soon as they mention Noah, they start mentioning who? The giants led in the land. So another thing that I never realized was, how did Noah get to such a big, like an ark that can hold all of these animals? Well, the only way it makes sense to me is Noah was a giant. Noah was, because as soon as they mention Noah, that's when they start telling us about giants. And I never got the correlation, like, okay, you're telling us about Noah, why would you just, in passing, just mention that there's giants in the land? I submit to you the possibility that Noah may have been a giant. Noah may have been one of these creations, one of these mixed breeds between the sons of God and the daughters of man. Think about it. Noah walked with God. Noah walked with God. He's the only one that was saved or given this forewarning of the flood. And he has the power to call all these animals, 2 of every kind, to his ark? It doesn't sound like he's just a regular man to me. Hey, I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying it's a possibility, something to consider. Chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before men in this generation. So why are they comparing Noah to men? I've seen you righteous before men. Oh, excuse me. I see righteous before me in this generation. Verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens. Say this again. Of every clean beast you shall take to thee by sevens. Before he was saying take 2 of every kind. Now he's saying every clean beast you'll take by 7, so you have some food. The male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. So that's what he's saying. The things that you can't, the clean versus unclean, if they're not clean, just bring 2. We don't need a whole lot of unclean beasts on the ship. Just bring 2, 1 male, 1 female. But of the clean beasts, the things you can eat, take 7 so that they can reproduce and you can eat them. Verse 3. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, because you can eat your chickens and your turkeys. The male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. So take more of the clean beast than you do the unclean beast. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth. 40 days and 40 nights. So hey, here's your 7-day warning. I give you a week. Take 7s of everything. Now Adam, if he was just a man, how's he going to take all these animals? He's a giant. I'm just saying. It's a possibility. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with them, into the ark, because the waters of the flood of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth, there went unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass, after 7 days, that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, so Noah lived 600 years. Men only live 120. But Noah lived 600. Okay, all right. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Can you imagine it raining for 40 days and 40 nights? You know how much water that is? And why does it need to rain for 40 days and 40 nights? That's a lot of rain. What, 2 weeks of rain isn't going to do it? Of nonstop rain, the whole earth will be flooded if it rained for 2 weeks. The reason it's 40 days and 40 nights is because you had some big creatures back then. You had giants on the earth. You had giants. It wasn't just humans. If it was humans, make it rain for 2 weeks, you're done. No, he made it rain for 40 days and 40 nights because you had some big creatures back then. Giants had to be flooded out. Crazy. Verse 13. In the self-same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into Noah, into the ark, 2 and 2 of all the flesh, wherein is breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. God had commanded him, the Lord shut him in. These are 2 different, okay. All right. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth. And the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift upon above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. And all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of the fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and of every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So even after the 40 days and 40 nights of it raining, 150 days later, it took for the water to come down, to drain away, to go back to the oceans. Now that's crazy in and of itself. 150 days after it's raining for 40 days and 40 nights, but it's not like, oh, it just stopped raining and now we're good, we can just go back outside. No, it was raining for 40 days and 40 nights. It stopped raining, but now you got all this water on the earth. We're still living. You ever see that movie Waterworld? Go back and check out that movie Waterworld. That's actually a really good movie. That's what it would look like. It would look something like Waterworld. Go back and check that movie out. It's a really good movie, actually. All right, chapter 8. I think I might stop after chapter 8. We'll see if I get to chapter 9, depending on how interesting this is. Chapter 8. And God remembered Noah and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. That means the waters subsided, the waters went back. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain was from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. 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 I think they said that they found the ark, I want to say in Turkey, but I got to go back and check. I think they said in 2022, they recently found the ark. It made some headlines. I might make a whole YouTube video off of that. Y'all be sure to check me out on the weekdays too. Like, I do my Bible studies on Saturdays, but you know, on the weekdays I also do just an interesting video. I try to make an interesting video from a current event or something that's going on that piques my interest. Y'all be sure to check those out too. Chapter 8, verse 5. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month, and the 10th month, until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. So it took months. It took months for the top of mountains to be seen. not the lowest levels. We're talking about, you couldn't even see the mountains. Mount Kilimanjaro couldn't be seen. The Himalayas, you can't see mountaintops until months after the water stopped. Just think about how the air was up there. You're in a boat up above the mountains. Oh, man. Verse 6, and it came to pass at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent forth a raven, not a dove, but a raven, which went forth to and fro. That's interesting too. In the movies, like in the Bible biblical movies and stuff, cartoons and stuff, they always show a dove going out. But it was a raven. Doves are white, ravens are black. Coincidence? I think not. But let it be known that Noah sent out a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth a dove, so that's the one that they like to show, from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, And she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand, and took her, and pulled her in unto him into the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent out forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came in to him in the evening, and look, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth again the dove, which returned not again until him any more. And it came to pass in the 600th. I wonder if they only sent one dove out. What happened to the other dove? Because mind you, they took out 2 at a time. For the dove to reproduce, wouldn't it have to be? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. That's one thing I always do. Like if I'm reading, I'm always thinking like, okay, how did this work? Like he sent out one dove, and the dove didn't come back. So then the other dove that he kept on the boat, what's that dove going to do? And it was only 2 doves in the first place. So how can they reproduce? Well, to be fair, I think he pulled out 7 of the clean animals. So a dove would be clean. So one of the doves didn't come back, but that leaves you with 6 other doves that can still reproduce. So I guess it still makes sense. Verse 11. And the dove came into him in the evening, and look, okay, sorry, we read that already. Verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were